This is New Shigak Point. From the beach to the north is Dillingham, population 2,500. Home to several fish processing plants, a boatyard, and a couple bars and restaurants. Dillingham, the biggest town in 169 miles, is only accessible by plane or boat. To the south of New Shigak, Clark's Point, population unknown. A veritable ghost town. To the southwest of that, the Bering Sea, home of the greatest wild salmon run on Earth. There are different types of commercial salmon fishing. This is set netting. This is your drive to work. This is work. This is also work. It's hard to say if the men in Melville's time had any motivation other than money. But to row a boat backwards into the mouth of a whale, you might seek fortune elsewhere.
How's your arm doing?
It's all right. The same could be said of the fishermen of Alaska. What drives them? Through this misery, the cold and wet existence of commercial salmon fishing, a community is formed. This is the story of a couple set netters in New Shigak Bay, Alaska. This group of 100 or so people on New Shigak Beach are all bound by the same hardships and the same wants. They do not want a disaster. They want to survive.
Don't miss.
They want warm days and cool nights.
It's 3 a.m.
3 a.m. I must be alone.
They want a strong salmon run year after year, and they want a good price for their salmon. One crew may do better than another. This is, of course, a simple measurement of catch. But to see one group fail, found in a wretched situation, no one wants that. And that's a beautiful thing.
Why do you fish?
I guess I started fishing as a favor to my dad because he was getting divorced for the third time. And when you commercial fish, you can have one permit in your name. And his soon-to-be ex-wife had a permit. And they were fighting. And she said she wouldn't give it to him unless he gave it to me. And then he also said that he couldn't get it from her because he might kill her. So if I would go and do the paperwork with her, then he would owe me one. And that his nuts were on the chopping block. And I think at that time I was maybe 18 or 19.
I'm just joking. Look at it.
Sarah likes canning salmon. She likes to appreciate, know, and love the food she catches. The canning process creates shelf-stable salmon that she takes home with her at the end of the season. Before she can get to canning, she, like every crew on the beach when they first arrive, has to do a few chores. Where are we going?
I'm going to fix the water.
We're going into bear country.
What's that?
A pillow?
It is a pillow. Aw. No love.
Give it to the Amish.
Okay. Abandoned hospital. Always scared me. I've stayed out of it and away from it. There's bats that live in there. It looks like a outhouse that's tipped over.
I did notice that earlier.
If we ever need one. That's the old sauna that burned down when a person tried
Low
to
ceiling.
dry their gear above a stove. Oh, it looks like somebody stole the stove out of it though. Old cannery equipment. You gotta post that on some old thing and be like,
What is this?
what is this? They might come get it for the Peter Pan because they're still using this kind of stuff. Don't let them know it's here. They'll steal it.
Go first. Mosquitoes.
Oh, here they come.
Hoods up. This is how to get running water.
Around the upper tip, correct?
Correct. They've got water. Empty?
Yeah.
Did our pipe fall? Kind of looks like our pipe fell.
Yeah. It would appear. This goes into here, right?
Yeah. But the whole thing fell. Well, it's good looking water. Now with running water, we move on to Sarah's favorite task of making camp livable. We're cleaning up owl poop, and there's tons of bones.
Yeah, you know, that's what I look forward to every year. Look at that one.
We are settling into camp. Running water, bags unpacked, boat afloat. But in order for Sarah to start canning fish, she needs fish to can. Patience is your best bet on days like this. Sometimes fishing is just slow. Sometimes it's like this.
We want to do 10 fish, right?
Yeah. But for Sarah's needs,
Fishing good today.
Good size for smoking, though.
it's a good looking little salmon.
Yeah, this is a nice little red. One of our bigger ones. So I do it in a very easy, fast way. Some people come in up through here and then ride the bones down and then ride the tail out. And this is like the simplest way and the easiest way for most people to learn to fillet fish. Then I try to incorporate a de-ribbing as I fillet, so I don't have to go in and get the rib bones later. So I make like this little, can you see in there?
Yeah.
Make kind of the scooping action. And then I take the tip of the knife and I ride those rib bones down until I get to the belly. And then I kind of sneak in there, ride them down. And then you can see that my knife has something to ride on, versus if I went underneath here, all of those rib bones would be stuck to the fish. So then I give that a little more cut, try to stay on top of the rib bones, but still kind of angling down, and then doing a bit of a sawing action down through the fin. And here's where a lot of people get in trouble, because they start to tip the knife up instead of really pushing down and following through, and they miss a lot of the fillet there. And this little shun kind of wants to pop up over here, but I'm trying to learn how to ask it to stay down. And yeah, you get your little tail bit.
Respect the shun.
Respect the shun. So I missed
Hey, female.
I only got those ones and I messed up, and so that was a bad fillet on my part.
We're learning. We got a new knife.
Yeah, now you
Now you
have
do
to go
this
and get your
jazz.
rib bones, which I just take that little tip cup right like that. And if you need to do another one, you can. I missed one right here. And then I aim it up and I try to see through, because it's pretty clear. You can see your knife if you do a really shallow cut and try to cut as little of that rib meat as you can. Then you have your anus or your butthole. You can cut that off or keep it if you like butthole.
We're not doctors. We call them buttholes.
Anal fin.
The anal cavity.
Okay. Now I can just look at. Maybe we'll try the other side, see if it works. Usually this is my better side. Eggs.
Female.
Some people take the guts out first before they. Other side you flip. Always angle like towards the head. There's more meat at the top. Gonna cut in. Down there. Gonna try to get these rib bones off. Hard to do with this shun. I need a bigger shun. I need like a giant shun for this fish.
Don't we all, you know?
Right? Okay.
You pull from the head. That probably saves the meat.
Better on that one, but still miss some. which I want to show this fun little life hack. Because many people like who are like have never filleted a fish before, it's really kind of scary, and maybe you just bought a fish and it's really expensive. You don't want to mess it up. But we're lucky here. We have like endless amount of fish to practice on for dinner, breakfast, lunch, snack. But what you can do, like let's say you miss some of your meat, and you can just take your little spoon and run it down, and then you can turn that into salmon burgers or like a salmon fry, frittata, whatever you want. Salmon tacos, it works really great for salmon tacos. So any kind of thing you would maybe use hamburger for, you would use this salmon, kind of spooned salmon.
So yeah, I mean, there's that definite element of harshness when you're out there, and the beauty of the cabin, and I think that's why set netters have such a beautiful life, because we can leave the weather behind for a little bit, come in and sleep and feel warmth and kind of the comfort of a structure being a cabin. Old George Johnson said, though, never make your cabin more comfortable than your boat, because then your crew will always want to hang out in the cabin.
Set netting is just one of the ways to commercial salmon fish. You must have a permit which allows you to legally fish, and you should have a site to fish on. Each site has a specific geographical location from which you anchor the inside of your net. A screw anchor is the standard means of securing it at Shigak.
Fun in the mud, boys. Fun in the mud.
Once in, a screw anchor should, but will not always hold the entire season. From that, you attach your 300-foot gill net and set it out your boat. There are different ways to do this. What you have seen is just stacking it out of the boat, allowing for a quick drag out. You can also set it with the net in the boat from the stern or the bow. Things can go wrong here. Human injury, of course, but if part of your net gets snagged, you'll hear a terrible and it's not hard to shred a $2,000 net. When done properly, the net is perpendicular to shore, with the buoys marking the inside and the outside. Then, depending how hard the fish are hitting, you either wait or you immediately pick it.
Money, baby. Well, that's a great set, man.
To pick the net, you have to get it over the bow. Weather dependent and fish dependent, this can be difficult. Sometimes you're just straining water. And sometimes you're knee deep in salmon. Most boats now have insulated bins with slush water, and when those are full of fish, you deliver to a nearby tender, which is just a larger boat provided by the cannery. Delivering, like getting the net over the bow, is made more difficult in rough weather. When the tender's fish hold is full, they then drive to Dillingham and deliver the fish. This whole process is highly regulated by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. What you catch varies. This is a good day. But sometimes.
Look at the way he works it. He's a wizard.
These are called floaters or ghost fish or zombies. Not really a zombie. A zombie is a fish that's still alive but technically dead. Now, I think we have a king salmon here, ladies and gentlemen. These smell disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, God. Look at the teeth on that. I can't wait to have salmon for dinner tonight.
You always ask me why I fish, because every once in a while you get a good, pretty red right there. That's a good red. Very nutritious, delicious. Then you get a big silver, which is pretty sweet. You don't get these that often. a coho. Pretty freaking sweet. Then you get giant kings every now and then, and it's really fucking sweet. A couple weeks ago, my girlfriend and I did 15,000 pounds in like 16 hours. Ugh, that's an apocalypto girlfriend right there.
Another type of commercial salmon fishing is drifting.
Ready?
Drifters, to a degree, do not consider set netters real fishing. Because while they are on their boats for weeks at a time, set netters usually get to work in shifts and return to shore when done.
That smells.
Drifters have more net, fewer people, refrigerated holds, and usually catch more fish. Drifters can talk their trash. Set netters don't have a roof over their head while in the water, and 5-foot swells seem pretty intense on a 23-foot boat.
Is it outdated? Yes, but that's also kind of the beauty of it. And I mean, we could all buy seiner and change the fishery and do it totally different. But there's that element of heritage that goes with it, and being a part of something that your father did or your grandfather is doing, and then carrying on and hopefully making it better. Like, I see us trying really hard to improve quality and to get better fish in order to get a better price. And I think it like comes down to honor. You want to honor and feel proud of what the product you produce is, and sometimes like giving a canned salmon is like, well, yes, it's like sustainable, like it's protein and wonderful and you can eat it, but like it's not the only thing our salmon can be. You know, there's a lot of different ways to sell salmon and market salmon and get salmon to all kinds of different people. So I think it's exciting to think that, you know, maybe in years to come, people will keep improving, and just to see where that could go. Or maybe it'll implode and we'll be done.
Is set netting outdated? Will commercial fishing create the next great extinction? That's anyone's guess. If you study the history of the salmon runs, there have always been good years and bad years. Do humans have the ability to completely destroy it? Absolutely, in more ways than one. A question we need to ask ourselves: why does industrialization encourage unchecked materialism and consumption, which invariably results in the reckless extraction of resources, destroying the established harmonious balance between the salmon and the Bristol Bay community?
You ever feel like you take too much sometimes?
In terms of fish?
Of anything, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Anything in life. You know, it's like excess is a big problem in my life. Or like something that doesn't mix with me well. You know what I mean? I'm not like an excessive person by any means in anything that I do. You know, it's like and like taking excess always kind of disturbed me. It almost like, you know, picks away at pieces of...
So is that one of the aspects of this fishery
that you don't like?
Qualms with?
Well, one of my qualms is like, you know, that you shouldn't have to take as much as you do to make this sustainable.
Yeah.
It works against the whole... Yeah, I just don't agree with that.
When I see the fish, I'm just like, that's rough sometimes.
Oh, not like trust me. I look at fish like it's a fish eat fish world, and fish eat their prey alive. You know what I mean? I have no problem, but like, I think, you know, we're not the only ones that eat these salmon. You know, like
yes.
I think the bears, the freaking whales, whatever else, the soil it feeds when they die and rot. And so all of this
carnivorous lobsters we found out in the new salmon book. So that doesn't, even when it's like the mass, I don't know.
Or even like if you think about the industry, how it's completely directed at foreign markets. It's like, you know, there's a lot of things about fishing that are like very immoral in my opinion. You know, but that's on the other end of the spectrum for me. I'm like the fisherman, you know, I catch the fish, I put the fish on the boat, and then we give it to the cannery, and then we don't have to really think that much about it afterwards. But when I think about what the cannery does, like, you know, taking a product and heading and gutting it and then shipping it to China to fillet it, even though that might improve our price for a short period of time or whatever, I don't think that's the way I would think this industry should go. You know, it's like, we always talk about like creating jobs in America. You know, these are jobs. You know, and maybe you know we have this group of people who live in the lower 48 who aren't acclimated to that kind of work, but you know, make a system that works for the people and the industry as well. You know, there's a lot of things that could be better about this.
I am so weary, I'm as glum as I can be. All y'all have lost it. I meet your madness with pity. I don't blame you for being scared, but it's the wrong direction that your teeth are bared. We're fully busted. We know the ship is run aground. The things you trusted, they burned the farm and moved to town. And though I might eat all of my steaks rare, I never sold my soul to a billionaire. I keep it open for you, bound and determined. Oh, you can't lie to me. Oh, bound and determined, oh, to ruin everything. You think your country, you'll lay a claim unto the soil. If you were country, you'd save your land from being spoiled. Do you drink water? Do you breathe air? I think if you were really country, you would fucking care. I'd be just like you if I were fed the things you're fed. I'm just as frightened. We're off the rails, we're in the red. You got opinions, but your proof it lacks. And only one of us is dealing in alternative facts. I keep the door open for you, bound and determined. Oh, you can't lie to me. Oh, bound and determined. Oh, to ruin everything. You ruin everything. You ruin everything. You'll ruin everything.
This is Adrian. Adrian is good at fishing. As mentioned earlier, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game heavily regulates commercial fishing. They can set closures, and if your net is still in the water at that time, you'll pay a hefty fine. This is an example of how to maximize your catch.
Switch it to this side, other side.
The longer your net is in the water and other people's aren't, the more fish you will catch.
Come on.
Every second counts.
3 minutes. Yup. Could have waited another minute and 30 seconds.
It's important to note the interview conducted with Adrian was at the end of the season. He was very tired and beat up.
I've been coming up fishing since I was 7 years old, so this would be like 23 years, roughly. 6 years old, somewhere in there. I've been coming up here 23 years. Working on the boat since I was 11 and became a captain at 13. Because the other guy running the ship became a drunk. And I was sitting around the card table with Ole and Steve-O, Hans and those guys, like, while they're drinking whiskey, playing cards. As a little kid, like, hearing their stories and stuff was pretty awesome. And next thing you know, this gets brought up and Dad's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And they're like, what do you mean? You got this kid right here. I was like, I know how to drive the boat. And ever since then. Why do I come back?
Yeah, why do you come back?
I'm still figuring that out, but I'd say I come back for a lot of, like, the people, the lifestyle, the, like, time shared in the community and those types of things. I mean, For an example, when we all went out and flipped the boat the other day, I mean, there's not many places in the world left where people come together like that and do stuff. And that's, you know, people see that aren't like from around here, and they just are mind boggled by it. And I'd say that's probably a good reason why I'd come back is sense of community. And I mean, technically I was forced to come up here like for a long time, but then it just became what it was. I, you know, became a salmon coming back to spawn every year, but never spawned.
Just trying so hard.
Still trying. Well, for other people, I have many different reasons. I mean, for instance, Danny Cooper, as you saw last night, he's just very passionate about fishing. He loved this. He loves doing this because his dad did this and showed it to him, and now his dad's passed on, so that's something that he'll always do this, I feel. Yeah. He'll fish for 20 cents, I think. But that's just because he's got so much passion and joy in it. And I'm jealous of that. I wish I had that mentality.
I know when he was talking about that, you know, just the place means so much to him and that he looks forward to it all year long. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want to leave.
Yep.
I have a question for you. So knowing what you did this year, and like people don't know, but like you did 2-man crews and worked until your hands basically stopped working, and you have nerve damage in your hands right now. Mm-hmm. And it's like you may not know for a while whether or not it's going to go away, how long it's going to be like shooting pain or numbness or weirdness. And then all the stress that you go through to get up here with you know, like travel and planning and then having to run a crew. What do you think a fair price for salmon is? So like if you think about what you put into it, how hard you work, and it can be even a giant number. But I thought about that today. I was like, what should we, for what we do and what we have and what we like go through, what would be an actual fair price?
I'm going more realistic, but
right.
In general terms, what we should really be getting paid for what the fish is selling for in the supermarket and everything, it should be like $2 at least, $2.20 base, and that would make all of this worth it, because even on slim years,
yeah,
you're not hurting. You're not tucking your tail and going home and digging all your pennies out of your change drawers and everything to pay your rent or whatever.
Swear jar. I'm gonna have to empty the swear jar.
Yeah.
No, I just thought about that. I was thinking about asking everybody what they thought.
$2.20 is fair. Base.
Yeah, I mean.
15 cents for floating, 10 cents for premium. So you'd be like $2.35, $2.45.
I like that. Let's do that.
They're going by fast. It's weird. Like every season you realize you only get to do this once a year. And there's something pretty crazy in that, of just like, no matter what kind of experience you want to gain or be as a captain or a crew, you have to wait till next year to try. And you don't even know if you're going to be able to, you know. I mean, one of the guys broke his arm this year right before the season, so he had to go home. Another lady broke her leg, had to go home. COVID stuff, it's crazy. So I think we're really lucky to have the opportunity to do this. Even though as a kid I hated it, and as a teen, and sometimes even now. But yeah, there's something that I think we experience that not everybody gets to, or maybe would get. Max, why do you fish?
They say when test pilots black out, they enter a calm, endless ocean. Is this our first memory in the womb? What if it goes even further? From the water we crawled and survived. Many species did not. But this landscape provided for us. It is not wild, it is home. This water will always call us. After finishing a shift, when we feel our blood circulate through our veins, when we use the body to test the mind, the blood can return to the spirit purified with strength. Because as all boats have buoyancy, so does the human soul. You sit down to eat with your crew, hands swollen and wet, lower back gone, fish scales embedded in your eyes, but it's okay. To live with this pain, to embrace it, is how we breathe. Sarah once said, "There's a sense of wonder here, like meeting your true love for the first time. One can get closer to birds and linger before they fly." Because we are allowed to step into nature more deeply, because nature hasn't lost trust in us yet.
What? I got it.
Bye-bye, big house. Look at Owlie up there, gonna try to scare that owl away. Usually an owl comes and shits all over the deck. Real love-hate relationship.
Right?
Yeah,
We're leaving.
I'm leaving.
Bring it all the way.
But surely when the engines start roaring and the smoke starts to choke, that window closes and I find myself mid-season spilling a rainbow of gas into what I once revered, and at the end of the season I'm happy to see the cabins boarded up and for the silence to return. We do not know how to walk softly enough.
Well, my eyes adjust, my joints are rusty, sheets are awful cold and dusty. Row over, folks, it must have been an early